Hi, this is Cheryl back with you from Farmhouse Frugally, and today I am working on some items that were a little bit plain and a little bit farmhouse, and I am making them a little bit rustic. All of the items that I am using today have come from the good table at my dump, so free to me, starting with this galvanized bucket, and it's great, but it's a little plain. So I'm taking a green and a cream milk paint and I am mixing them together to give that just a lighter, maybe a sagey green color. And I am mixing equal parts paint to equal parts water. Once I stir that thoroughly, I will let that sit for a few minutes to thicken up. I love this color because I think that it really goes well for both spring or fall, and really honestly you could use it for Christmas as well if you wanted to. So I am going to go ahead and give this 2 full coats, waiting for it to dry in between to see what kind of chippiness I'm going to get. Now, milk paint can be very unpredictable, especially on metal. You can get no chipping, you can get too much chipping, so you really don't know. And you can heat this with your heat gun in between if you want, but I don't think that it really makes any difference. Now, after I have given it the first coat, I can tell that it is, once it's dry, going to probably flake a little more than I was hoping for. But sometimes adding that second coat helps. And after the second coat, I did let that dry, and it was a little bit more chippy than I wanted, but I thought that it was sufficiently rustic for this challenge, and I decided to go ahead and take my dark antiquing wax and to go over it to, one, protect the milk paint, to protect some of the chipping, and of course make it more rustic and more vintage looking, which is exactly what I like. Now, as I wipe this back, a little bit more of the paint will chip off, and that is going to help to keep that from chipping in the future. And then also, after this wax has cured, I will take it outside and I will spray it so that it will not continue to chip as time goes by. And so I am just going to continue doing that through over the whole bucket. Just wipe that whole thing back. And I kind of debated on whether I should stencil this, but I decided to go outside and pick some Queen Anne's lace that is growing in the lot beside my house and just fill the bucket with that. I thought that the color combination looked really beautiful and lent itself for a more spring feel. And here you can see some of that chipping and some of that more rustic look on this bucket. I may decide in the future to go ahead and add either some decoupage or some stencil to this bucket. And then I thought that it would be nice to style it for fall and give you a look of what this might look like in the fall season. It is a little early for me to be doing fall, but that is the way that it is when you're on YouTube. People like to have some ideas, and you need to give them enough time to go out and get what they need to produce similar items. So I am, against my better judgment, doing some things today for fall. And before I continue, today's collaboration is Rustic Wednesdays, but on Saturday. So this is being hosted by Shelly, Repurposed My Way, and Dawn at Shabby Meets Bling. If you would like to check out their channels, they will be in the description box, as well as a playlist for everyone who is joining in today. Now that is going to take me on to my second galvanized piece, which, yes, I also picked up on the good table at my dump, and it has great bones, and I love the wooden handle. And galvanized is fine, very farmhouse, but it doesn't sell. And I think really, honestly, there's just a little too much galvanized going on here. So I think that maybe adding some paint to this one as well would be a good idea. So I am going to do the exact same thing with this one that I did with the bucket. I had enough of that paint mixed up and left over so that I could give it 2 full coats. I had to clean it real well because I wasn't quite sure how well it was going to stick, and then give it 2 full coats of the green, letting it dry in between and having to kind of get some of the flaking off. So I did just dark wax that and wipe that wax off. And then I am going to style it here with some of the spring items that I still have out in my dining room. In fact, I have spring out everywhere in my home. I have only just this day pulled out a couple of fall things. But I love the green for spring. I love it with pink tones, and I love it with neutrals. I especially love it with wood and cream colors. So that is how I have that displayed. And then, yes, I did decide that I could go ahead and add some fall decor into this to give you an idea of how this green will look so beautiful against the fall traditional colors. And that is that for these 2 galvanized items that are now in green. So I would love to know what you think and whether or not you think this was just too chippy. When do you start decorating for fall? Do you wait until after Labor Day? So that would be helpful as well. Now, I have this 3rd item, and it is a free basket sitting on the good table at my dump, and it has beautiful brown leather handles. And after I washed it up, I really wasn't crazy about the deep brownish color that was around the rim. And again, I have just enough of this green left over, so I thought, what the heck, let's make this a green video. So I actually love green. That's my favorite color. So I painted the top edge, I painted the center, and then I just displayed it for a second just to show you what it would look like if I didn't do anything rustic to it. So if you wanted something very simple, this is what it would look like, but this would not be much of a rustic video if I did not make this more vintage and more rustic looking. So that is what I'm going to do now. I went into the graphicsfairy.com and I had found this beautiful print that I like, and it has that pretty sagey green grain sack striping. And it has a horse, which I absolutely love, and I also like the color tone. So I printed it out on rice paper in a size that I thought would work with this basket, and then I am just going to go ahead and use a wet paintbrush, peel away the edges, the white portion of that, and give that more of an organic edging, and I am going to just Mod Podge and put that right into the center of this basket. And I did dry it a little bit with my heat gun, and then I took out the watered down antiquing wax, and I want to go over everything that I have painted. I want to go over the label, and I want to go over the basket itself, and then just kind of blot some of that wax back, because I want the actual color of the basket to be darker like the handles. I want this to look more old, more worn, more rustic, vintagey feeling. And so I go over the whole thing, blot that back, and then I even did the bottom and the inside rim. And then once I have that done and dried, then I'm actually going to take out some darker wax, straight up wax, and do a little more around the label's edge. And now here it is displayed on my hutch, and then here it is displayed in another location on a bookcase in my home. So I would love to know what you think about today's Rustic Wednesday, but on Saturday, and whether or not you are a fan of green. So thank you so much for stopping by. Do not forget to check out the playlist and the wonderful channels that I have in my description box, and I will see you very soon. I have a number of videos coming up with some larger items, so stay tuned. If you have not subscribed, please make sure that you do. I'm going to have a giveaway soon, and I will see you then. Take care.